Hello, this is Dr. Wendy Rowley of the Wonder of Human Design channel. This is the playlist series called How to Engage with Your Spiritual Guides. This is the 5th episode of this series. It's good to listen to these as a sequence because they build and the information builds and it makes more sense. How to begin to heal with your new guide of soul system or connection. How do you heal with this guide of soul system? I like what we got in the last episode. Let's see what comes forward in this episode. And I hope my sound is projecting. All right, here we go. Oh, good day to you, dearest beings of light. This is Allie Annie of Cosmic Service, Palladian Mother of Sound. Peace be with you, peace be with you, and peace be with you. How do you heal with this new connection you got in the last episode, should you have chosen to engage in that activation, to be able to heal the higher heart creational level of the guides of soul, working with a higher creational being in guidance? For this system is already in place, and there are already souls who have passed over who are engaged in the new system. The Creator is not going to leave a vacuum between systems. Something leaves, but something is being built over it. It's a lot easier than just saying, let's not just do that anymore, without looking at the ramifications through other industries, other peoples, other countries. And there's a lot of that going on right now in the world, and it's creating a little bit of chaos. But there's also a reason why maybe that's being done in that way. And sometimes you just don't know the whole story. And then we're going to leave it at that. So, in this particular episode, we're going to now describe how can you heal with this new connection that you just got in the Guide of Soul system without taking the guides into the tops of your hands, or the old system of corruption of your feet, or the new system of into the pineal communication system, which goes through the tops of the eyes. If you notice, these guides have entered in through your sensing apparatus. They have entered in through the sensing apparatus. So we're going to describe first a little bit more about your physical and spiritual senses beyond what most people know about them. Because this one has seen this already. She may not have cognized it, but her higher self and soul have had the aha. And that's close enough for her that it's not cheating the free will program, so we can come out and tell you what she's already seen. And we want her out of the way because she's already trying to think out, like, well, what was that? What was that? Get out of the way, get out of the way. Okay, so in the new Guide of Soul system and in the new activation, there is opening up in the creational level a new heart field healing pathway that is already in place. And it's part of the new benevolence pathway for the Christ coming into the death bardo, end of life incarnation bardo, in 2028, 29, and 2030 over a 3-year period. And so pre-setups are in place. More evolutionary setups happen next year, and then the following year, 2028, boom. At the spirit level, this is happening. This one does not, and is not the camp that is happening. This is happening at a global level, and this is just simply a prototype of work to show you what is happening, and to tell you what is happening, and to offer some upgrades for those who want them into this new happening of evolution. And that happens at every great renaissance that are spiritual renaissances, and you are entering a very great spiritual renaissance, one of 3 great ones on a planetary system. You can't tell now by looking out at your world, but the astrological readers know that it is so. And this one has read it by a wonderful astrologer named Richard Knoll in his work. And he was very great about it. He was probably one of the first to come forward and really start to announce it. And he is wonderful because he was the first to relate things to other astrological cycles in time in the past and show patterns. And we would like to credit him for that work because she's worked with him a few times, and he's very juicy. And his work is very good, but he's withdrawn a little bit now. He was a pioneer in astrology, and he's withdrawn a little bit more from his work. But you can still find him on the web. He has a presence and he's doing his thing. And we're not saying he's done or he's gone. He's just not being as active in his work as he used to be. And that happens. And we don't mean to be disrespectful or say anything about him. He's there. He's working. We just want it known that way, because the way we phrase that might have been misinterpreted. So if you hear this, Richard Knoll, please forgive us for our phraseology. You are working and active and doing your astrology, and it's all there. Okay, so that guide of soul system is there. So let's talk about this sensing. You have 5 physical senses. We know this. Science knows this. They were able to find these in the brain. You have smell, you have sight, you have speech, you have hearing, and you have a type of feeling that is related to the nervous system at a body level, but in your spiritual nature, we're talking about a type of feeling that is your ability to sense frequency, energy, resonance, harmonics, and octaves. We're talking about that feeling, and that is actually something that you have. It was one of the first senses that you took on when you started to become into form, and it's the only sense, and it's related to your sense of smell, believe it or not. The ability to sense frequency is related to your sense of smell. And in old Lemuria, it was a dual sense of both smell and sight, and it's no longer as functional, and it's going to be turned off in 2027. This one's like, yay! There's a lot of corruption in there. So that old Lemurian senses was a combo sense, and that's where smell and sight are, but it was used for frequency. And it's before you were upright in vertical bodies. Other people have talked about it. You were kind of uncartilaginous little beings, and the earth was misty, and you were sort of going sideways, and you had little flippers instead of hands and feet, and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people have talked about it. It's written up in the Lemurian scrolls, and other people have written about it. And that's true. And so it's in that time frame that you had those first senses develop. So this sense of smell is this feeling sense, and it is the only sense that has a correspondence in the lower chakras. It has a first chakra and first soul chakra connection, because it also is related to, in those days, frequency and feeling, but it's no longer needed in that way. So we were saying that on purpose because there's some people who have been running into that lately and they don't understand what it is. So that's what that is. And that's going to be turned off, and that's good because there's a lot of junk in there. A lot of noise, a lot of junk, and it's very corrupted. It's very old. So you have your 5 physical, and you also have 5 spiritual senses. And as this one said in a previous tape, higher up at the creational level, at the interface between your individual higher self, where you morph into a group higher self, spirit body, on the human consciousness grid. There's one of these in the interim soul creational or interim Christ grid. And there's one of these group higher self, soul group spirit bodies out in the greater field. And in those interfaces, the one on the human consciousness grid, is where this sensing at the pineal communication level is. And this one's always wondered that. So it is, the pineal communication sensing allows you to sense higher frequency levels. You can sense the blue-green healing layer, you can sense the white-gold consciousness healing layer, and eventually you can sense the noosphere healing layer of the collective level of the consciousness around the periphery of the planet. And those are the 3 healing bands, which relate to the 3 consciousnesses. Everything's related, right? So, how can you work in healing with the guides of soul without bringing them into your spirit body? Because at this interface between the blue-green healing layer, between your individual and group higher self, there's some new setups that were put in place in December solstice 2025 that are allowing this healing to go forward in a different way. And we've been speaking to this one privately about it, called resonance healing. And this is a new paradigm of healing that will come through many healers in their work to upgrade their healing paradigm more. And they'll be getting a resonance factor to it for healing there. And this one's bringing in a new healing paradigm, so hers is a little bit more in the future kind of a paradigm. But for those who already have paradigms, like the Reiki people, they're already bringing in the frequency paradigm. There's some Reiki people that are starting to bring that in. And eventually it'll go around and all the Reiki people will be healing the resonance frequency level with their guides of soul. So basically, the divine intelligence of the Creator sends guides of soul down to humans who have the antennas up to say, this is a new healing paradigm, will you bring this forward? And they may say yes or no. And someone says yes, and then they bring it in. So those types of guides of soul that are higher creational beings and healing beings only work through divine intelligence and bring in a healing system when it is ready. So many of these healing systems that came forward are going to get resonance healing upgrades in them. And there are going to be a few healing paradigms that will no longer work after January 2027. And they're going to have to retrain. But a lot of clairvoyants and readers, all they have to do to read more is just raise their vibration or have a few activations. Okay, so we went off on a tangent because there's a variety of people listening here. This was not her wandering in her side. So how do we do this? Okay, so that connection was made yesterday. So it has information in it, but and we now know the guides of soul work through your sensing apparatus, and that the guide of soul healing layer is in the blue-green healing layer in between the individual and group higher self. That's where the guide of soul pool is of the souls who fulfill Supreme Being's will and healing, as this one likes to call it. And so that means that in the new benevolent system, they can do healing in that interface now. They don't have to come all the way down into the spirit body. They can heal in the interface. So right now, you can ask your guides of soul, because of that new connection that you already have, and ask your soul to upgrade your guides to the higher creational being system for a series of nights before you go to bed. We would suggest doing it for 3 nights before you go to bed. Ask your soul, move your guides of soul over to the new higher creational being healing system. Move your guides of soul that came in with you in this incarnation and the 3 consciousnesses to the new higher creational being guide of soul healing system. And do that for 3 nights. That's step 1. Step 2 is then wait a little bit of time for that to fill in and do its thing. It'll be different for everyone. But within 6 weeks, it'll be done. It'll be different for everyone, but after 6 weeks, it'll be complete. And you're welcome to say that intention for 6 weeks if it makes you feel better, whatever you need to do. Then, after 6 weeks, you can do this. O guide of soul, will you work with Supreme Being's divine intelligence and healing in a higher creational being? And will you heal at the interface of the higher self and the human consciousness grid, of my higher self and the human consciousness grid, that which needs healing now? And tell the guide of soul what you believe the disharmony is about, to show it that you know. Kind of a little more specific than the old guide of soul system. You need to let the guide of soul know, yeah, I know what this is. I think it's this. And then see if you feel different the following morning, because they're going to do this work at night with your soul. So these are pre-sleep suggestions. So let's go over this again. We're percolating little ideas and slowly. This is a pre-sleep suggestion for healing at night. You're going to ask your soul for 3 nights to move over to the new guide of soul healing system if you had the activation given in episode 4. This is episode 5. And if you go in and get that activation, there'll be a little star on the title next to it. That's how you know there's a sound healing in there, or a sound activation. And then for 3 nights you do that. Then for about 6 weeks, your guide will be doing all that. then you can now say, guides of soul, please come in this night and work with my soul on divine intelligence of the Creator and heal in the three consciousnesses at the interface of my individual to group higher self on the human consciousness grid. And may I have this healing this night. And I believe that harmony is about this. And also you can, of course, the Creator, your soul, your connection, always go there first. And then see how you feel in the morning. And do it until you feel there's a shift. And then it's done. Sometimes it takes a couple of nights. So this is a way you can work with the new guide soul system already in the new connections that have been made on the earth by the higher creation beings and angelics, by the human family that are working this energetic at various levels around the planet, and by the new guide of soul system that is already in place to be able to work with like this going forward. Peace be with you. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu. Okay, this is Dr. Wendy Rowley. Sorry, I do think once in a while because I'm like, I want to do it. So I'm not perfect, but I do the best I can for us. And I like this. I'm going to do this right away because I've been waking up and it's been a little loud in the morning. So let's see what happens. Peace be with you, and I'll see you in the next episode.